Alright, today we're going to be working on a 2006 Honda Civic. A lot of the Hondas are all very similar to this, but basically we're going to be changing the front brake pads as well as the brake rotor. As you can see, this brake rotor here, it seems like it's staying applied. You can see all these spots inside here, these heat spots. So we're going to be replacing this rotor too. A couple things we want to check before we really do anything on here is we want to make sure that the slide pins are sliding the way they're supposed to. Because a common problem with the cars is that these slide pins freeze up, makes the caliper stay applied, and then you wind up prematurely wearing down the brakes and you wind up with squeaks and everything else. We're going to also be changing the hardware kit here, and the reason we're going to change the hardware kit again is because it's staying applied and we don't want to take a chance on damaging the new brakes and rotors. Okay, first thing we're going to do is going to take out these screws here to hold the rotor in place. Sometimes these can be a real pain to get off because they're rusted in there pretty solidly, as you can see. But I'm going to show you a trick to get that off, fairly simple. So we're going to take these two screws out here. We're going to push this piston back in, and we're going to check the caliper. And then we're going to remove this bolt and this bolt. I think they're 14 millimeter. And then down in the back over here, right here, let me get a light here so you can see. We have two bolts, one here and one down on the bottom over here, right there, that we're going to be taking out also, and then we'll take that knuckle off of the car, the mounting bracket, I should say. We're going to take this mounting bracket off the car. So let's get some tools and let's get started. Okay, remember, so we're going to take these off first, right? And the way I take these off, every one of these Hondas, before you do anything, you take a driver, you put it on top of the screw like this here, and you just hit it pretty firmly, and it'll snap the rust loose, and you'll be able to get it off. So I'll show you. Put it on here like this, and then hit it pretty firmly. Same thing. On the bottom one, same. And then we should be able to get in here with the screwdriver and remove them. All right? That's one way of doing it. Now, if you have it this frozen and you can't get it off, they do make a driver to actually get that out of there. And this is the driver here. You put it on the screw here, and then you hit it in the back with the hammer, and it breaks it loose. In this case, it's fairly loose already. We don't have to worry about it. But if you couldn't get it off, that's an option for you also. It's a driver like this. Put it on the top like this, and then you hit it in the back, and it rotates it right out. That's not the case here. It actually was loose enough so that we could take it out by hand. Once you hit it with that, with the hammer, hit it very firmly, it snaps. All that rust that's on here comes off and you get it right out. All right, so that's the next thing. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the caliper and we're going to push that piston back in. And the way you do it is you take a screwdriver and you get in through the back over here and you hook it and you slowly pry it until the piston pushes all the way back in. Okay, once you have this, the piston pushed back in on here, you'll slide the caliper back and forth. And as you can see, the caliper slides properly, so these slide pins are not frozen. They slide freely the way they're supposed to. So we're just going to lubricate these, and we'll be fine. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take out these bolts in the back that actually secure the caliper to the mounting bracket. I was wrong, it's not 14 millimeter, it's a 12 millimeter. Take them out. Once you break them loose, you can usually take them out by hand if they're not too rusty. And we're going to just take the caliper and we're just going to bring it to the side. I never like to let a caliper hang while I'm working, so I take a hanger, hook it on here, and then just secure it up and out of your way so that it's not dangling on the end of that rubber hose. All right, brake pads we're going to be throwing away, so we don't need them. these out of our way for now. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take out those 2 bolts in the back. They should be 17 millimeter from, take them out. And we're going to remove that bracket. Take this bracket off the car. And now the rotor is ready to be removed also. You just take it and pull it right off the car. And check the face back here to make sure there's not a significant amount of rust on there. Otherwise you'll put the new rotor on and it's going to be slightly warped and you're going to get a pulsating pedal. In this case it's nice and clean, but if it wasn't clean you'd get in here with sandpaper and clean this up. Alright, let's put that new rotor on and we'll get this job wrapped up. Now obviously you know there's only one way that this rotor can go on because you have to line those screws up. And we're going to put the screws back in here. And tighten them up nice and tight. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to, remember we talked about we're going to change that hardware on here. We're actually going to pull these clips off and we're going to replace them with new. And the way you do that is just get behind it with your finger and pry it right off and we're going to put new ones on. Same thing right here. Pry it right off. And we're going to put the new ones in place of it. And we'll get this job wrapped up. Let me grab the new ones. Alright, these are the new clips here. And you basically just push them on like that. And you push them in like that. And like that. And now you've got your new hardware mounted on here. We're going to do the same thing up top here. There's only one way it can go on so you can't make a mistake. Push it over the top. Push it down. And push it down. And you're in just like you belong. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull these slide pins here out. And we're going to lubricate these with the brake silicone. It's a special grease made just for these things. And the way you do it is you have to make sure they go back into the same spot where they came out. You just take it out, put a little bit of lubricant on here, put it back in. Same thing on this one here. See, I did 2 different ones. One has got the rubber on it and the other one doesn't. So just lubricate it. Make sure you put them back in the same place you took it out of. And push them all the way down until the rubber comes back up on the top where it belongs. See how that one's not up there? And you push it in. And you see it snaps right up and where it belongs. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to lubricate everywhere that the brake shoes touch. You put a good amount of grease. Again, it's a special brake grease. It's not just wheel bearing grease or anything like that. Alright? Now I'm going to put the caliper back on the car. Just put it over the top and then tighten those 17 millimeter bolts in by hand first, as tight as you can make them. Before you tighten them up all the way, get both of the bolts caught, tighten them up, and then you get in there with your ratchet and tighten it up so that it's fairly tight. Same thing here, top one. Nice and tight. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to point out something here. These brake pads here have a sensor built onto them like this. You got to make sure you use the correct sensor on here. See how this one here has the sensor in a different position? This sensor is here, this one is here, so we know that's not the right one. This is the correct one. Okay, the sensor is in the same position, and we know this is an inner brake pad because there's the sign where the caliper piston was touching against it. So we're going to put that back in place. The new one. And then the other brake pad does not have an indicator on it. The way you put them in is just put it in like this, push them forward, and they slide right in. The front as well as the rear. All right, next thing we're going to do is let's take our caliper that we previously hung up by the cable, and we're going to lay it over the top like this. Now I push that piston all the way back in there, and I can slide it over the top, but let me show you something. If by chance you can't get this over the top here because the piston is not in far enough, then what you do is they sell a special tool. Okay, but the way that this tool works is you put the brake pad in here, and then you turn this, and it pushes the piston back in just that little bit, so that you can get it over the top of these new shoes. All right, but if you push it in with the screwdriver, you won't have to worry about this. But I just want to show you, just in case you ran into a problem, you know what to do. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the caliper and lay it back in here like this, and just push those slide pins in, so that you can put the caliper back on. And then we're going to grab the two 12 millimeters that we took out and screw them in by hand. I just want to show you one other thing too. When you screw these in, make sure that these pieces here fit flush right in there the way it's supposed to, here and here. Otherwise you're going to have a problem getting that bolt in. It's going to wind up being out too far. All right, and then we'll tighten these down. Screw in by hand as far as you can. And then once you got them tightened in as far as you can by hand, then we can tighten it up with the ratchet. All right, and that's it. Let's go over a couple of things just to make sure you got everything done right. All right, we have our caliper on, and both of our Phillips head screws are tight. We have the caliper mounting bracket mounted on. We tightened up those two 17 millimeter bolts in the back. We put our new hardware in here. We lubricated all of our slide pins and everywhere that the brake pad touches. And then we tightened up our 12 millimeters, and that's it. We're all set. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to go around to the other side. We're going to put the other side back together, and we're going to wrap this job up. We don't need a lot. We just need a couple of screwdrivers, a pair of cutting pliers, a pair of regular pliers, screwdrivers, and a little vice grips. And of course some brake silicone to put back on when we put the shoes back together. So let me just basically show you what we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to clean off all of this stuff in here. You see all this brake dust inside here? We're going to clean all that stuff off so we don't get all over the new shoes. All right, first thing you're going to do is what we talked about is you're going to clean off all of that brake dust that's inside there. What you do is you take some cleaner. And what I always do is don't spray it real hard, just wet it down lightly. And once you have it saturated, then you can hit it real hard with the full pressure of the can. But by wetting it down, it keeps the debris from getting all over the place. And we'll wash it all down. All right. Now we have it nice and clean. First thing we're going to do is we're going to come in here with a pair of vice grips, and we're just going to pinch the line that goes into the wheel cylinder. We're not going to make it real tight. We're just going to pinch it very lightly, just enough to keep the fluid from flowing through it so that we don't damage it. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here to the spring on the side right here. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to show you. There's a spring right here for the self-adjuster. You're just going to grab it, lift it up, and I'm going to have to do it with two hands. Lift it up and out to get it out of there. Let me see if I do it this way here. You just grab it right on here, and you lift it up. All right, I'm going to need two hands to do it. But basically, we're going to take the spring with a pair of pliers, and we're going to lift it up and off of here, and we're going to remove that. Then we're going to take these out here. So let's do that. Alright, so you just grab it with the pliers and you lift it up and you pull the spring up and off. And we're going to be changing these springs. We're not going to reuse these springs because the car has got over 100,000 miles on it. But this lever right here, we're going to need to reuse this. So put this on the side and you're going to reuse this. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to, before we take anything else apart, right here is your parking brake lever that goes through there. There's a little clip on there. What you have to do with that little clip is you have to spread it and you have to separate it from the lever. So I use a screwdriver, go in the middle of it, and you just twist it. It opens it up a little bit, and then you push it out. And you can push it out this way here until you have enough movement on it. Slide it down until you have enough room. Then you get in here with the screwdriver and you remove it like this. It's a lot easier doing this now than when that shoe is off the car. Take these pieces out and again put this on the side. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this spring right here. And the way you do that is you just grab it with the cutting pliers and you pull it to the back. And you take it out like that. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the shoes from the car. And the way to do that is you push in on this little clip right here, and then from the back you rotate the pin that holds it in. I'll show you what that looks like. And what you're doing is this piece here is like that. You push it in, and then you take the back piece here and just rotate it, and you can pull this clip right off. All right? We're going to be replacing these also, so I just put them on the side for now. Same thing we're going to do right up in the front right here. You push in like this, and you rotate that pin from the back, and that comes right off. Again, we're going to replace it so you don't need to hold on to it. We're going to take this shoe here, and we just pull it out. Take the spring off the bottom that is on here. And we're going to replace this also. And this shoe here we're going to take out. And we're going to take it off of the lever. Alright, we'll grab the new stuff and we'll put it back together. Okay, we're going to put the new pins through the back of it to hold the shoes on. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the brake shoe that we previously took off, match it up to make sure it's the correct shoe, which it is. Put it What we're going to do is we're going to put this lever on while it's here off of the car. You put it through the shoe like this. You install your flat washer on here. And then you take your new horseshoe clip that comes with it and you slide it on. And then you're going to get a regular pair of pliers and we're going to attach it. Use a pair of pliers to squeeze it till it goes in all the way. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the pliers and you're going to close it up. Push it all the way in, and then you grab pliers and you bend it around like that, and now that clip is on there permanently. All right? What we're going to do now is we're going to lubricate everywhere that the brake shoe touches. It'll eliminate any kind of squeaking and make the brake pads slide properly. Any point that the brake shoe touches, you lubricate it with your silicone grease. If you don't have any, you can pick it up at the car store. It's specifically made for doing brakes. All right? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the shoe and put it back up in here into the wheel cylinder. And then we're going to take that hole down and put it through there like that. You take your new clip, hang it on here. You take your screwdriver and you push your clip over that while you hold it from the back. And then while you're holding it down with the screwdriver, you rotate the clip in the back until it's straight on the you put it back through there like that, and then while it's through there, you rotate that pin and you lock it in place like that, and it won't move. Right? Next thing we're going to do, all right, so that shoe now is finished. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put that spring on the bottom here that we previously took off. Just hang it on here like this, and now we're going to install the other brake shoe. Now, this one here has got the lever, or the pin through here for the lever for the parking, for the adjustment of the brake adjuster. So we need to make sure we have the correct shoe. Okay. Take that spring and you hook the spring on here like this. And you're going to take this and you're going to put it back in the car. We'll put this spring on here later on. We're going to take it like this. We're going to hook it on this spring down on the bottom here, like that. And then we'll bring this up, and we're going to reattach it with the hold down screw. And we put that on there. So you hold it through from the inside. We got our adjuster back onto the shoe, onto the parking brake where it belongs. And we'll reattach that spring in a minute. But for now, we're just going to get this piece here on, hook it on there. We'll take the screwdriver again, and you got to push that clip down and rotate it from the back until it's at a 90-degree of the opening, which is what it is now. What I'm doing is I'm just hooking that spring into the back right over here where it belongs to the shoe. Put the star adjuster back where it belongs. Okay. And then you hook the spring back onto the back over there like that. Move it up just a little bit. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to put that self-adjuster back on. your self-adjuster back onto that pin right there. And you rotate it. And the lever goes down like that. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to hook our spring back on here. And then we're going to lift it up and put it back where we took it out from. Show you what everything looks like. Okay. All right. So what you did is you put your adjuster for your parking brake right through here. You put your washer behind it. You bent the horseshoe clip around it. You installed your lockdown tab right here. Put your new spring on the bottom right here. You put this lock tab here on. You got the spring caught in the back here the way it's supposed to be. The wheel cylinder is touching the brake shoes exactly as supposed to. Self-adjuster is in place and it's put back in where it belongs. That's it, we're all set. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the drum on and then we're going to adjust these brakes. So let me grab the drum and we'll come right back. Okay, the drum is resurfaced now, so we have a good surface for the new brake pads to be touching onto. I just want to show you this real quick here. This is the self-adjuster inside here. There is a slot in the back. I'll show you back over there. In the back of the drum back here that you can get in here and adjust this, but I'm going to show you an easier way to adjust it without having to try to get in through the back, because through the back it's very difficult to get back in there to do anything. You can see that it's in a really bad spot back there. So we're just going to do it a different way here, and I'll show you how I normally do it. We're going to take these vice grips that we have on the line off. So now this is all back in, and let me put the drum on and we're going to adjust it. Okay. Put the drum back on and see how loose this is. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. Just going to put a little bit of grease on here because it was a little bit rusty coming off. So that way we'll have a little bit easier time getting it off the vehicle if we have to take it off again for any reason. Okay. What we're going to do is put the drum on and see that it needs to be adjusted. And what I normally do is you get in here with the screwdriver, just turn it to the side here, and you can adjust it right here. You just spin that wheel, and then we'll turn a little bit, and we'll put the drum back on and see how it is. The way you want to have it is you want to have it so that the drum can make one complete revolution if you spin it by hand. It's pretty rusty, but gives you an idea. Once that wheel is on flush, you'll be able to spin it one full revolution. All right, so that's it. You're all set. Take your time, watch what you're doing. If you run into an issue and you're trying to put something back together here and you forgot how to do it, go around to the other side of the car and use that as a reference point. That's it. All right, any questions, any comments, any advice you need, drop me a line. Be more than happy to talk to you about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.